Recently, I was on a podcast and I was asked the question, which figure out of the, let's say, occultic past would you have liked to have met? And my response was Aleister Crowley. Now, I know some of you basically like to dismiss him, not understanding his significance. You look back at him now and you think, well, what did he do that was so outrageous? What made him so relevant? Well, what you're failing to do is put him in the context of his time period. You are guilty of what's called presentism. You are looking at him through the eyes of somebody who lives in the 21st century. Crowley was born in the Victorian age, and most of what he did was, well, in the Edwardian, let's say. And in those very, how should I say, restrictive time periods, how he acted, what he espoused, just the fact he was open about his bisexuality was outrageous. Now, the importance of Crowley is, besides his books and his magical teachings, was his basic outlook toward the world, toward life, the do it thou wilt philosophy. Because of this, you had the free love, the outrageousness of the 60s. Certain artists, musical artists that you're all familiar with, I've gone through this list before, like David Bowie, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Tool, Black Sabbath, so on and so forth, were all directly influenced by this man. If you know anything about Crowley, you already know this. Now, recently, somebody posted that Crowley was of the left-hand path. What he did, of course, was outrageous. 100 years ago, at this time period, right now, 100 years ago, he was in Sicily, in Cefalù, at the Abbey of Thelema, doing some very hedonistic, over-the-top rituals with his followers, his little cult, if you will. And this was a precursor of what was to come in the 1960s with communes and free love and drugs. There was a lot of drugs at the Abbey of Thelema. Now, just because he did this stuff does not necessarily mean he was on the left-hand path. Now, one way of knowing that he was not on the left-hand path is the basic fact that he had his followers cut themselves anytime they said the word I. He was trying to squash their egos, where on the left-hand path, you emphasize the ego, the self, the individual. He didn't want any individuals. But at the same time, he was an innovator. He did things his own way. And that right there is an attribute of the path. Carving out your own path, doing things your own way. So there's the basic paradox of Crowley. But at the same time, Crowley himself, he always denied he was of the left-hand path. He one time, attempted to sue someone who called him a black magician, where we on the path proudly take that title or accept that title. So I guess in some ways, whether you are on the path or not determines where your heart is and what your final destination is. So I ask you, my friends, foes, and faithful minions, was Aleister Crowley on the left-hand path? Leave your comments down below and please like, share, and subscribe.